Hi, in this video I'll talk about an idea on how to bring Carlos. He's about 14 years old now in Honduras, and his mother abandoned him. She was 15 when he was born, and nobody knew she was pregnant except for the day that she had the baby and left the baby, or maybe soon after left the baby. Nobody knows who the father is. So, dear spouse, to bring Carlos, and then nobody wanted to take care of this young man when he was younger, 8 years old, except for my mother-in-law, who died. And now back then, 8 years ago or so, the boy, 6 years ago, about 6 years ago, the boy, he went from relative to relative, and not one of the relatives wanted him because the kids would start fighting, the biological kids and then Carlos. So, except for this spouse that I have, her high school classmate, 40 something years old, right, was the only one that said, I'll take care of him. Can you believe that? A high school classmate. So thank you, Bernarda, for taking care of Carlos. And also, dear spouse, my spouse here, we can bring Carlos or we can bring Bernarda's son here, plus his girlfriend, plus Bernarda, plus Carlos. And then the spouse, when I told her this, she said that Bernarda, of course, lives with her mother. So we could bring her mother here also. Or we could bring somebody else here. And then I got the idea, housekeeper wanted. That's when I made the other video. How to bring these people here? Well, I read the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And it says, Article 13, point number 2 says, everyone has the right to leave his or her country and to return to his or her country. So if it's a human right and the United States signed it and the other countries signed it, then when you pay $100 to get a visa and sometimes they don't give it to you, or all of these people that come here illegally to the United States, I'm thinking that, and Eleanor Roosevelt said that we should teach the Universal Declaration of Human Rights to every school, every child, and in every school we should teach it all over the world. But I believe that no one teaches the human rights. And if we did, we would finish we'd have new problems with immigration, but it wouldn't be the same ones, like deporting illegals. There wouldn't be any illegals because they have a right to leave their country and to come here. There must be order, of course. And the order that I found was this guy named Gary Davis. He's about 80 years old. He has passport number 1, the World Citizen Passport. That means he is really the first person that could travel all over to any country, any country I believe that signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Maybe this was unintentional by the United Nations, or maybe it was intentional. Either way, you can travel if you get I think his passport is less than $200. Um, the World Citizen Passport. The office is in Washington D.C. And what else? I mean, you got to do paperwork. You got to go to the notary and send the paperwork, send the application, send in the $200 or whatever the amount is, and then you get your passport. But I mean, to get a regular passport, you got to do the same thing. A regular passport from whatever country you're from. So that would fix those problems. And that really brings me joy, because there was this little boy named Juan in Colombia, and Marta Perez was a housekeeper, and she told me how she almost started crying, of course. She showed me his picture, because maybe it was his birthday the day that she showed it to me. And when you're a security guard and you sit down and people talk to you sometimes, and really she had nobody else to talk to. I mean, I spoke Spanish, and she mentioned how her grandparents or somebody else was taking care of her little boy, but that she missed him so much. She missed him so much. But then she had to work to be here in the United States and so on. But she couldn't bring him. So it breaks my heart, you know. All right. So it reminds me of the story of Booker T. Washington in the book called Character Building is the name of the book. It's free on LibriVox by Booker T. Washington. It says there was a boy that was being sold into slavery. Well, he was a slave, the son of a slave woman, and he was being taken away because he had been sold off. And so he called out to his mother and said, "The Lord delivered Daniel. The Lord delivered Daniel. The Lord delivered Daniel from the hungry lions. The Lord will deliver me." Oh, man, that one made me gotta plug in. That one was something else. Then he continued, "The Lord delivered Jonah. The Lord delivered Jonah. The Lord delivered Jonah. The Lord will deliver me." So this we gotta do something, people. Everybody in the world can help somebody, somehow. Watch documentary films. There's one I saw about in India, and where women have no sexual harassment in India or something like that. It was about an Indian girl that grew up in England, and she went back to India to visit, and she meets other women that have been abused on the street. One of them for being out with her boyfriend at 9 o'clock at night. She got raped and then she died. They also tried on a bus, and they also tried to run her over with that bus. I don't know how they failed at that. I mean, they beat up her boyfriend, but the lawyer that's defending the 4 criminals that raped her, he says, why does he put the girl in that situation? You know? By taking her out at night. And then there was another girl that she had been punched and stuff like that, or slapped, while walking out of a movie theater or out of a birthday party, but it was already dark. And so the men, they just grabbed her clothes, tore them off. No one defended her. something must have happened with that one. But I mean, there's abuse all over the world, and you got to do something to stop the abuse. You can't just do nothing. Bystander. At the same time, I was a bystander with a mother and son were arguing over there across the street. He said, "I'm going to punch you in the face." Then my son said, "He's not going to do that. Give me my cell phone." She didn't give it to him. Eventually, apparently, he did have it. And when she got in the car with Grandma, yes, Grandma's the driver, they drove off, but then a moment later, a second later, she said, "I love you." And that's when apparently he threw the cell phone at the car. So then the cops came, because Grandma stopped and called the cops. And they took him, they arrested him for something, but it didn't happen until the mother said, "I love you." Bang! He threw the phone at her. The phone he wanted, right? Oh boy. You see, the Bible says, almost encourages bystanders. And I don't want to be a bystander, but the Bible, I've been reading it, and it says, the guy that meddles in a problem that's not his own, now that the world is shrinking, and like the Arabs and the Jews, if they start fighting again, I think they haven't stopped. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't read the paper. With the atomic weapons, it does affect everybody. It's like you have 3 guys in the canoe and 2 start fighting. It affects the 3rd guy. All right. Talk to you later. Be better than I am. Find out really what to do about being a bystander. Bye for now.